Hello and welcome to Spotlight. My name is Derek and today we are looking at the new Razor UHD binos that have just launched. Now the Razor is Vortex's best lineup and the UHD Razor is an even bester lineup within that. And that kind of elbows its way into what many would call the top tier bino market. As far as glass quality per dollar spent, the UHD is a really good place to be, and they've slightly expanded their lineup with this, the 10x50. Now 10x42 still remains the most popular size bino for pretty much everything, hunting especially, but there are times when a 10x50 might suit you better. Now when you're choosing binos, you really have to balance size, weight, magnification, and low light performance. Where the 10x50 beats a 10x42 is in low light performance primarily. So in the daylight, if you want to use something for daylight, you're really not benefiting much with these, but in low light you definitely are. Now I want to say a quick note on light transmission. We often see companies that list their optics with certain percentages of light transmission, and Vortex does not do that for one good reason. There's no industry standard for light transmission. So the math involved when you're trying to come up with that figure is not a standardized process within the optics industry, at least for sporting optics. So that's like everyone treating what a foot is as how long their foot is. It's going to be different for everyone, and then the statistic becomes pretty useless. Anyway, the low light performance on the 10x50 is going to be better than the 10x42, and while that's hard to quantify it and demonstrate that effectively in a video, it is noticeable when you're using them. One way to look at it is the size of the exit pupil. Now your eyeball, your pupil, expands and contracts depending on lighting conditions. So when it's very dim out, your pupil expands to about 7 millimeters across. And with a 10x42, which I have here, the exit pupil is 4.2 millimeters across, and on the 10x50, it's 5 millimeters across. So you have more light coming through the binos hitting your pupil. Now the trade-off for this is 4 ounces of weight, a little bit more bulk compared to the 10x42, and about 50 bucks more in cost. To some, that's a pretty fair trade-off. I mean, they both come with the same bino pack here, so they're pretty easy to move around, and 4 ounces, let's be real here, is really not that much weight for most of the types of hunting that people do. Now, if you're having to pack everything you've got for miles and days on end, yeah, you want to be a little bit more sensitive to weight. But the last time I hunted, I walked 150 yards in the woods and sat in a tree stand all morning. Like 4 ounces is not going to be a problem for that. But at the end of the day, you need to make your own decision based off of what you'll be using them for. Something else I noticed with the 10x50s, because the barrels, the body, is a little bit bigger, I find them a little bit more comfortable to hold in the hand. Not a big deal, but I figured it was worth mentioning. Something else worth noting, on the 10x42, the eye relief is 16.7 millimeters, and that is just within the normal sort of threshold for being able to use these for those who wear glasses. On the 10x50, you get a little bit more room. It's 18 millimeters on these, so it's a bit more comfortable for more people to use with glasses. It does come with this bino pack, the chest strap, neck strap, and all that. Also comes with this little pouch here. It's the perfect size for not only a small handheld rangefinder, but it also has 11 pouches here for some rifle rounds. Now what I have here is a 338 Win Mag, so it does take up a lot more space, so you might want to space them out here. So I've only got 6 in here, but I tested this with a 30-06 and I can get this thing fully loaded up with that. Why it's 11, I am really not sure. My only guess is that the person who engineered this was working with someone who's OCD and wanted to annoy them, or they're just a huge fan of Spinal Tap.
One louder.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
Now one last final touch that I do like about all the UHDs is that you can quite easily put these on a tripod by unscrewing this little piece here at the very front and then drop it. Put a tripod adapter right here for prolonged observation.
Just glassing, glassing.
And as a secondary use, I actually use these pretty extensively for close and medium range shooting. Watching bullet trace with binos is really fun. And even with a 10 power, you can spot effectively out to a couple hundred yards. To sum this up, it is nice to have the option to do a 10 power with a 50mm objective. We'll still say 10x42 is still going to be the most popular size by far, but it's good to have that option. So that'll wrap this up. If you want, you can battle it out in the comment section like civilized people about 50mm versus 42mm. You can also find us on Facebook plus Instagram, and we'll see you next time.